A little over a year ago, I shared with you the 5 things I wish I knew before becoming a Norse pagan. And now, here in the mountains of Colorado, I want to share with you 5 things that I have learned by being a Norse pagan, or at least 5 things that I've learned to be so important and things that I'm so happy are a part of my life now. So hello, my name is Jacob, and I'm a Norse pagan, and here are 5 things that I have learned being a Norse pagan. Now, before we get too far along in this video, I do want to mention that I'm going to explore each of these concepts further in their own standalone video, which one of these I've actually already done. But first off, I want to talk about the importance of wandering. Obviously, I'm here in Colorado. I don't live in Colorado. I live in Kentucky, and I just got back from Germany a month ago. And this is something that I never thought was possible. I've been following this path for about 6 years at this point, and it wasn't until about 2 years ago that I actually decided that I was going to start traveling more. Great time to figure out that I wanted to start traveling more, right? But even through all of this, even through the craziness of this world that we live in now, I found a way to travel and wander because it's something I knew I needed to do. Getting stuck in one spot, I don't think is healthy for us, especially in this modern age where it is easier to travel. Now, I understand that there is monetary limitations to this. I mean, I understand myself. It's been a struggle. I've had to save my money. But at the end of the day, I've cut back on things like, video games. I've cut back on buying a new smartphone every year. I've cut back on eating out all the time and found areas that I could take away from in the normal everyday that would allow me to come to places like this. I've been off the plane for an hour and 20 minutes. I'm already in the mountains, already filming, because I can feel the gods, I can feel nature, I can feel the spirits of this land. Wandering is so important, and it's something that Norse paganism has taught me. It's something that Odin has taught me. He's the wanderer. He wanders all around the realms, and I really do think that if you want to feel closer to Odin, you want to feel closer to the Allfather, then travel, pick up the staff, put on the wide brim hat, get out there in the world. It doesn't need to be to Germany. It doesn't need to be to Colorado. It could be to the town next door. There are so many places that you have not been to. I've lived in Kentucky for a while now, and I haven't seen all of Kentucky. I haven't seen all of its beauty. And now, there's a new trail here that I'm at. I haven't been to this trail before. And it's exciting, it's exhilarating. And I think it's how we enrich ourselves. It's how we see the world in different ways. I've met so many wonderful people from around this world now that speak different languages, that come from different nationalities and ethnicities. I've listened to their stories. We've talked, we've BS'd, we've just, had conversations as human beings. And that is something that builds us up personally. Wandering goes beyond just the gods as well. Look at the Vikings, look at the Viking ancestors that we hold to such high regard. They traveled all around the world using their longships. They came to North America hundreds of years before Columbus. They may have sailed as far as Minnesota, Arizona, all the way across this country. We're finding out more and more that the Vikings traveled so far around this big, beautiful world. They had this sense of adventure and wonder within themselves, and I think that came from the faith that they followed as well. Oh, hey, I still need to make a video here. The second most important thing that I've learned from Norse paganism in my time following the old ways is something that is kind of hard to talk about outside, but it's hospitality. This is something that I'm really excited to talk about. I mean, obviously coming from the gatherings that we put on as a community, hospitality comes with much importance. But it goes beyond that, because if you think about it, when we talk with the gods, when we commune with them, when we give them offerings, this is all a form of hospitality. When you look up like the Jarl customs, the village customs of the Viking and pre-Christian Scandinavian people, hospitality was so important, and this is something we still see in Scandinavia today, and even within Russia. It's something you might not think Russia is known for is hospitality, but it actually is. One of the things that is very important to Russian people is when if you enter their home, they have to treat you like royalty. When you take the hospitality aspect of just being a good host, but being a good guest, something it talks about in the Havamal countless times, when you focus on those things, you'd be surprised how connected you feel to the ancestors. It's such an ancestral connection. Then again, the God aspect, when you sit down at your altar and you ask Odin for guidance, or you ask Freyr for help, or Freya for assistance in magic when you sit down and talk to the gods about those things. And then, if you're asking for something, you have to give something. And if you're not giving anything, should you really expect something? And that's the beauty of this faith, is it's a two-way road. It's not one way. The gods are not just controlling our every move, but we're also not demanding things of the gods. We can't demand things of them. We have to give something in return, whether that's a gift of mead or fruit or vegetables, or a time, something we made, a poem that we wrote for them. We have to give gifts in order to receive them ourselves. And, I always believe in paying it forward as well. I believe in karma, even in the Norse mythos aspect of it. And, so if you're giving gifts, it never hurts to give. If you're sitting there with Odin and you're speaking with him, and even if you're not feeling Odin talk back with you, give a gift, because you never know when he's going to wander your way and give you some wisdom you didn't expect. It's not really something that people think of when they think of Norse paganism, or they think of the Viking Age. They think of these macho men, or these strong women that are going around the seas and raiding and all these things. But really, what was important to the common everyday person, what was really important, was hospitality between yourself, between the gods, your family, the people that come and visit you, and the people that you visit. Be a good host, be a good guest. Third lesson I've learned from being a Norse pagan these last few years, particularly during the Wisdom of Odin times, is storytelling. It's something I've already talked about in a video. Like I already said, I'm going to be expanding on these, and I've already talked about this one. So just to recap, in case you haven't checked it out, highly recommend you do. Storytelling is all we have at the end of the day. We would literally have nothing of what our faith is if it wasn't for the prose and poetic Edda. You may have some sagas, you may have some artifacts, but even the sagas are storytelling. And there's so many religions around this world, so many pre-Christian, pagan religions globally. So many of them lost forever, so many gods names and ancestors and great tales lost because they were not written down. And so we are lucky that we have written source material, at least for some of the stories. I would say that we only have, 5%, maybe 10% of what the faith would be or could be in the past. And the rest of it, we're just putting together ourselves with other faiths, with personal experiences, with group experiences and everything. We're just kind of making this weird patchwork creature that is Norse paganism and heathenry nowadays. But at least we have that 5 or 10%. And I can't imagine it would be like if we didn't have that. Quite honestly, we might have nothing. I probably wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now if we did not have the written source material that we have. So with that, I think it is so important that we start recording our story now. There are so many books written about Norse paganism and heathenry already out there, but most of them are written by scholars. So I want to see more people taking advantage of how easy it is to publish a book nowadays. I want to encourage anyone that has had experiences with the gods to start writing and recording them, even not necessarily for publishing. I myself may publish a book at some point. It's on my list, but what I'm doing now is journaling. I'm using a journal app, which is not a sponsor of this video. I just highly recommend it. It's called Day One Journal. You can actually journal on it digitally, and then you can actually have those journals printed off in a very nice book form. So that's what I've been doing, is anytime I have a religious experience, I write it down. I type it in, and then I get that physical copy so that it can last for lifetimes. And that way, when I'm starting to feel disconnected, I can read about my experiences in the past. Or maybe 60 years from now, if I get to live to be that old. I kind of hope not, honestly, that's way too old. I can sit back and reflect on the experiences I've had in the past and see how much I've grown or how much I've not grown, maybe, and hopefully I still have my hair. But I think it's so important for us to write our stories down, and especially as this modern digital age is moving forward, get physical copies of things, because, if you have everything just in the cloud, do we even know what the cloud really is? Get physical copies, if you can, of your adventures, of your stories, of your rituals, and all these things. I think it is so important for us to sit down and record our modern saga so that we can continue to learn as a, global heathen community and continue to learn from one another. One problem about rushing to the mountains the moment you get to Denver, Colorado, is you gotta climatize real quick to the altitude, especially if you're coming from a lowland like Kentucky. Whew, I am out of breath. But if you like the content here at the Wisdom of Odin, if you like the adventures I take you on to talk about the old ways, please think about donating to Patreon. It's the only way I'm able to do this full time. Okay, whew. Okay, lost my breath there for a second. You've truly allowed me to do this full time. You've allowed me to research and talk about the gods and talk with others who have interest in the old ways as well and share them on this channel with all of you. And share them on this channel with all of you. So if you like the content here, please think about going down to Patreon. In the description, I have lots of great benefits there as well, including the Patreon Discord, live streams, and early access videos. Thank you for your support if you choose to do so, and to all of you out there who choose to support this channel, thank you very much. Up we go. I just wanted to give you a minute to soak in all of this beauty, because the fourth thing that I've learned about being a Norse pagan and learned by being a Norse pagan is how to slow down in life. We live so fast-paced nowadays. I mean, if you really think about it, the way we live now and the way how much the world has changed in the last 20 years is astronomical. It's bigger and more explosive than any other time in known human history. Even the fall of Rome did not change the world as much as the last 20 years, as much as the internet age. Someone may disagree with me there, but really think about it. The world is completely different than it was 20 years ago. Yes, we still have cars, and yes, there's planes, and planes, yes, were great, cars were great, trains were great, but the world is so different now, and how we live as human beings is completely different, and it's so much more fast-paced. And so something that I am so grateful and thankful for that Norse paganism has taught me is how to slow down in life and take in the view. And I'm not saying this like a virtue, like, oh, patience is a virtue. No, what I'm saying is that the world moves in cycles. Yes, the world moves quickly. Human history is a blink of an eye in the entire span of the universe's time. But our everyday, to us humans, the world does move slowly. Even if you don't live that long, if you live to be 50, if you live to be 60, the life is long if you choose to see it as that. And moments like this, I guarantee you the moment I'm done recording, I'm gonna sit down on this rock right here, and I'm going to contemplate this place and just enjoy it. If you wanna call it meditation, that's perfectly fine. Meditate on the rock then. But really, I have learned so much to take in the world for the cycles that it is. And not even just that, but thinking about the seasonal cycles. No matter where you live, you have seasonal cycles of some kind. Unless you live in the middle of the desert, and then you have slightly less hot times and maybe a little bit more hot times. But for the most part, the majority of the planet is controlled by seasons. And so I think adapting your life to the change of the seasons is wonderful. It's something I've been doing. Every year, I have a plan. Every year I have a main goal or a main set of goals that I work on all year. And I do all my planning in the winter when we're all inside of our homes. And then in the spring, I start planting those seeds. I start tilling the earth a little bit. No matter the idea, I start planting the seeds in people's minds. I start talking about projects I want to work on. And in the summer, I make it happen. Look at this year. I went to Germany in the summer. It wasn't as easy as just snapping my fingers and appearing there. There was a lot of work that went into going there. And so I had to plant those seeds in the spring and plant everything in December and in January, and then plant those seeds so I could eventually travel there in the summer. And then as we wind down this year, I wanted to focus on the gatherings, go to a lot of gatherings, put on a lot. And then in December, I'm working on some really exciting plans I can't quite talk about yet. But next year is another cycle and another planting season begins. Even if we're not farmers, we can live according to the seasonal cycles. Hopefully I've been able to expand that enough to say that it's not just patience as a virtue, but really live your life according to the seasons of the place you live, and try to live your life in accordance to the agriculture cycle a little bit if you can. Again, I'm a videographer. I make videos. I don't plant things. I can't grow things, but I still live my life in accordance to the agricultural cycles because that's what the ancestors had to do. That's what our pagan ancestors had to do. And I think it's a way for me to feel more connected to the past. And to me, it's truly helped my personal path with the old ways. As we come to our fifth and final lesson that I've learned through Norse paganism and by Norse paganism, I think it's important to note that I've learned many more things than just 5, and I've just been really trying to condense it down to a quick video that someone can watch and learn from my personal experiences. Which brings us to the fifth and final thing I want to talk about in today's video of what I've learned being a Norse pagan, and that is that we're all wrong. most of the time. Now, I'm not saying like, yes, 100% of it is wrong. Like I said earlier, we only know 5 to 10% of the faith that existed in the pre-Christian Scandinavian history. And most likely it's a smaller number than that. It could be 1%, because we ultimately don't have many stories. We have the stories of, you know, a few hundred years that were recorded by people who weren't even practicing the faith anymore. Yes, we have some of the sagas, but it's still not enough. And so something that we have to come to terms with, and something that I'm glad I'm coming to terms with, is that we're going to fail, we're going to make mistakes, and no one is going to practice this faith the same. This is something that I've been expanding on in some videos here recently, and I think it's very important for me to talk about here. And yes, I think saying we're all wrong fits that, but maybe it's that we overcomplicate things. Maybe that's what it is. Because to me, paganism is so simple. It's being outside, it's being thankful for the beauty of this world. It's being thankful for that raven I've been hearing over there that I'm going to march towards after this to see where he wants me to go. It's looking at these mountains. It's being thankful for the journey that you're on, for what you're given. It's asking guidance from the gods and them guiding you to something. We don't control the gods. We can't harness their power and command it at will. That's not what the gods are here for. And that's not what we're here to do as practitioners. And I think that this is a lot of things crammed into this, but yes, truly, paganism doesn't have to be so complicated. And I find that some people, particularly the people that want to think that they're 100% right all the time, they're the ones that want to overcomplicate it, because it's so simple. And I'm wrong all the time. And, you know, I'm not perfect and I don't have the answers. But what I can say with much certainty is that you can be a pagan, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, and that you can go outside and feel connected to the earth. Because at its core, that is what paganism is. And no one can own that. We all own that collectively as a species. And the gods are just the beings that we call to learn more from. The ancestors, all of our ancestors, used to dance around a fire. And it's the most beautiful thing. Once you see it, it's amazing. I've seen countless times now people celebrating the old gods around a fire together and learning from one another, learning from their mistakes, learning from their storytelling, being hospitable with one another. It's truly amazing once you see it. And I hope that truly for all people who follow the old ways one way or another. So my name is Jacob. I'm a Norse pagan. Don't overcomplicate this faith. Enjoy it. And I hope this video was helpful for you. I'm going to go out and find those ravens. Until the hall. Skål. Stop the credits. I forgot something. Is this not what religion should be? Oh, and go outside.